So there are fewer candidates in today's primary in Nebraska as well as West Virginia. But Donald Trump, the presumptive nominee on the Republican side, still needs more delegates to reach the magic number of 1,237, while Bernie Sanders is keeping Hillary Clinton focused on the Democratic primary race. Joining us now, Patrick Griffin, a former media consultant to 4 presidential campaigns, most recently media consultant to Jeb Bush's super PAC, Right to Rise. And from San Francisco, Donnie Fowler, who was liaison to Congress for the Clinton administration, who has worked on 7 presidential campaigns. Donnie, to you first. Hillary Clinton thought she would be, the coronated one by now. The fact that Bernie Sanders is still in the race, how much of a problem is it causing her?
Competition is a good thing, and Bernie Sanders has a very strong, important message that he's been telling for the last year. So it's not contradicting Hillary Clinton's message, but it's supporting the idea of change, equal pay, better health care, better child care for working mothers. All of these are issues that Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders agree on. So competition is a good thing. It keeps her sharp. This is not a bad thing for her or the Democratic Party.
But she's spending money in states where, traditionally she shouldn't have to be spending money, in places like New Jersey, for instance, which is generally a Democratic stronghold.
Yes, but what she's doing is she's preparing staff and her message and keeping her sharpness that will carry through the next 6 months into the general election. So it's a small cost. If you look at $2 or $3 million in an election that costs $1 billion, that's a really small amount of money, and it's better for the candidate, better for the campaign, better for the Democratic Party, frankly.
Patrick, one of the things that the Clinton campaign hopes to do is to lure moderate Republican women. They've been making an outreach to moderate Republican women, thinking they can snatch them away from Donald Trump. As a Republican, how worried are you?
Well, if there's anything that should be an easy assignment to John, it should be snatching Republican women from Donald Trump. He's got a terrible deficit right now, and those should be natural constituents of Hillary Clinton. The problem is with Donnie's spin is, unfortunately, in Brooklyn at Clinton campaign headquarters, they don't look at this as a good thing for Hillary Clinton. She is the presumptive nominee, let's face it. The bottom line is Bernie Sanders has become that painful B-E-R-N-I-N-G burning itch for Hillary Clinton that won't go away in this thing. He is trouble because what he continues to do is remind Democrats of what they're really good at, voting for something they believe in that's a big idea, that's new and tomorrow. Democrats aren't like my party. Republicans nominate the person whose turn it is. They fall in love with someone, which is why their cocktail parties are much more interesting than ours are, and why of late they've been winning national elections. Hillary Clinton doesn't like this. She'd like this over with. And the bottom line is Bernie Sanders owns every millennial in the Democratic Party, which is an extraordinarily important voting bloc, along with those women you talked about. This isn't something they like. They'd like it done sooner rather than later.
What about the wisdom, Patrick, of Donald Trump telling voters in West Virginia, you can just stay home, save your votes for the general election? Is that wise?
John, I've been wrong trying to do the smart guy thing on Donald Trump for a long time here. At the end of the day, Donald Trump marches to his own drummer. But I will say this. He's tried to spin this week into a general election campaign in a week that should have been terrific for Donald Trump, the week that he essentially clinched the Republican nomination, beating Ted Cruz last week in Indiana. He's had a terrible week. He's been moving around on issues. He's been trying to find his footing. He's been trying to attack Clinton and run a general election campaign. That's all well and good, but his challenge right now is trying to bring Republicans together, and that looks like this week his meeting with Paul Ryan and his meeting Thursday in Washington is going to have a lot to say about whether or not he can make that pivot against Hillary Clinton into a general election. Right now, there's trouble on the
Republicans are about to nominate a whirling dervish, and the Democrats are about to nominate somebody who's steady and reasonable and predictable. I think, that's a nice commentary that Patrick has. It's clear that he's not a supporter of Donald Trump, as many Republicans are not. But, this is unpredictable Donald Trump, and God knows we don't need that in the White House these days.
But here's the one thing, Donnie, and I don't disagree with you. I am no fan of Donald Trump's. I don't get any flowers, cards, or letters from him, and I don't expect to. Here's the one thing, though. Hillary Clinton is not precisely what the Democrats are known for. That's the point I made earlier. Democrats are great at falling in love with an obscure governor from Arkansas or an obscure first-time African-American senator from Illinois. They're very good at finding talent on the backbench and moving it forward. The fact of the matter is Hillary and Bill
They're
Clinton.
also very, very good at finding a woman who has been Secretary of State, a United States Senator, who has traveled and served this country all over the world for most of her life.
And nobody
that is
denies
a pretty good resume
Donnie,
for
that's a
president.
great resume. The problem is why Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump even erupted in all this, and you know this as well as I do, is because we don't want the resume candidate, it would seem, or America doesn't. At the end of the day, the Clintons have been in Washington longer than the monument. So I'm not sure that this electorate is ready for the resume candidate. They want something different, or your friend Bernie Sanders would be gone by now.
Donnie,
you might date the bad boy in high school, but you're going to marry the reasonable person when it's time to get serious.
But, Donnie, as we pointed out before, I mean, Hillary Clinton's negatives are very high, almost as high as Donald Trump's, and she's been on the...
Almost, but no, not quite.
Right, but she's been in public service, as you point out, all these years.
Yes. Look, the American people have a choice this election. They're going to choose Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. They're not going to say, do you want Hillary Clinton to be president, yes or no? Do you want Donald Trump to be president, yes or no? They would probably both get no. But that's not the choice we have. We have a choice between Donald Trump, unpredictable, unknowable, and somebody who's steady, experienced, smart, and understands the American middle class. That is a pretty good fight there that I'll take Hillary Clinton.
And Donnie, you sound incredibly reasonable. I don't disagree with anything you just said, but I made that argument in the primary for Jeb Bush, and so many others made it for other candidates. So I'm not disagreeing with you on that. The bottom line is Hillary Clinton becomes the candidate of smile and take your medicine. It doesn't taste real good, but ultimately she's the nominee, and she's what you got.
Gentlemen, we're going to have to leave it there. Patrick Griffin and Donnie Fowler, thank you both.
Thank you, John.